Hey, what's up, Grizzlies? Looks like someone got a haircut. I'm back in my high school gym, I guess in the track conference room, I don't know. But I wanted to do a short video on Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe had a really crazy bio with a lot of Virginia connections. I know he was born in New England, but he was abandoned by his parents. There was a rich couple in Richmond that adopted him, but he didn't get along with his foster father. But he went to the University of Virginia. I believe he got kicked out. If you were curious, I think they keep his dorm room if you wanted to visit it at UVA. He went to West Point to be in the Army. He got kicked out of the Army, I think, for not going to chapel. And I think he got kicked out of UVA for drinking and gambling. But he became a famous writer. I would imagine you've heard of Edgar Allan Poe. You like Edgar Allan Poe. You've read him before. But he grew up to be a writer. He was the father of American detective fiction, the father of goth fiction, detective novels, horror. He was an alcoholic and a drug addict. He married his 13-year-old cousin. And we'll talk about that. I think maybe if I were in the class, I might pick a question that had to do with his bio, because I like writers whose bios are more interesting than their actual stories. The three stories or poem that we're reading, Cask of Amontillado, Telltale Heart, and The Raven. I think maybe the connection is Unreliable Narrators. You read a story, you read a 5-page story, you read a 300-page story, you want to like the narrator, you want to trust the narrator. The narrator is explaining the action to you. And if you get to page 300 and the narrator's crazy or he's been lying to you, some people like that, some people don't. Like, I like, page 301, the narrator's crazy. I have to go back and put all the pieces together, solve the puzzle. But maybe if you like a linear reading, A to B to C, it throws you off. But I would say the connection to our three stories or poem is the Unreliable Narrator. Telltale Heart, which you may have read before, the narrator is insane. He kills the old man, which is his landlord, I assume. And the police come, but he confesses to us. We're his confessor. And he lies to the police and gets away with it, but he keeps hearing the old man's heart beating, and he feels guilty. So there's maybe a theme of punishment. I would say, in my Hawthorne video, I talked about my friend Big Handsome doing stand-up comedy about punishment, about the ladies in his town in Western Kentucky. They wanted you to be punished, your children to be punished, your grandchildren to be punished. And I think there's an American theme of punishment also in Poe. But the narrator gets away with the murder. He lies to the police, but he feels guilty and he confesses to the police at the end. The Raven, the narrator, is pining for his lost love, Lenore. We don't know what happened to Lenore. We don't really know, but he's in a dark, spooky mansion. I think there was a Simpsons episode about Lenore, or about the Raven, but there's occult things in the story, but it's spooky. A lot of people read it at Halloween. I think there's a reading, Christopher Walken does a reading. I think I might play that for you. The third story we're reading is Cask of Amontillado. There's a rich guy named Montresor who invites his frenemy Fortunato over, and they're drinking wine, but ultimately he locks him in the wine cellar, and Fortunato's going to starve in the wine cellar and die. And the story at the end, it's 50 years later, and Fortunato's bones are in the wine cellar, and we don't know why he did it. But again, the narrator's crazy, murderer, unreliable. It's up to us to solve the riddle, solve the puzzle. If I go to my theme sheet, just general stuff about all three stories. I wrote reliability of the narrator, You could also write your story about why we want to believe a narrator, and then what happens, using yourself as an example, if the narrator is crazy or lying to us, but why do we want to believe him? What's going on? The second question on your sheet talks about symbolism and the telltale heart, I and the heart. So it's I, that what you see, and I, like the letter I, you. But themes of the I and the heart, what that means. The third question says to compare Poe's real life to what happens in The Raven. So maybe Lenore, the woman in the story, is really his 13-year-old cousin that he married, and he loves her and he misses her. But that would be an interesting paper, I think. The fourth question asks about the deeper meanings of The Raven. Things of lost love, obsession. Like maybe all of us, I mean, y'all are young, but high school, college, there's the one that got away, someone you still think about all the time, like lost love, obsession. You write like love songs about her. Maybe rock stars write love stars about their lost loves. The fifth question has to do with the coat of arms and the cask of Amontillado. For Montresor's coat of arms, there's a snake trying to bite someone's leg, but the person is stomping the snake. And again, that's kind of punishment. If you mess with me, I'm going to punish you. What does that mean about the character? Maybe what that means about American or American fiction. The sixth question says, read the character Fortunato. He's dressed like a fool. He's a bit of a fool, nouveau riche guy. Maybe if there's a theme in that story, it's old money versus new money. But what's Poe doing with his depiction of the character, who's a fool but is rich and happy, but the other rich guy kills him out of jealousy? The seventh question has to do with unreliable narrators, like we've been talking about. You could pick one of the stories, or you could maybe do all three. All three of the narrators are unreliable. What's Poe doing? I think maybe he wants us as reader, as confessor, to solve the riddle. The eighth question has to do with negativity in Poe. A big theme, like in early American writing, transcendentalism, self-reliance, individuality, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, positive, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, like Hulk Hogan says. But in Poe, those themes are kind of DC to the AC, so it's negative. So maybe if you like sad songs, maybe if you're kind of goth. My favorite musician is Townes Van Zandt, and all of his music is in minor keys, and most all of his songs are negative. So what does that mean about Poe, America, and us? And then the last question asks about the role of the confessor in all of the stories, like the person that the narrator is confessing to. It begs the question about Poe's agenda, about his writing style. But again, that might connect to the reliability of the narrator. Who's he confessing to and why? Maybe he wants us to be his friend. He wants to confess to us what's going on. Okay, I'm going to exercise now, but that's a quick introduction to Edgar Allan Poe. See ya.